Yeah, so I think, the players have reported in, you can feel that there's great optimism for the 2025 season. It's a great privilege and opportunity to be able to sort of write this chapter 6 of Nashville soccer. And, I think we're a group that is, we've been able to replenish and reposition the roster and the staff a little bit as we enter this preseason. We want to keep in mind when you do something like that and you make a few pivots, that you really have to have a blank canvas and a beginner's mindset, we would say, to not be tied to a lot of assumptions or anything of that. So we're really looking forward to getting down to Florida tomorrow to get the group on the grass. They've been here for 2 days doing their testing. Get the group on the grass. Start getting the competitive juices flowing, start to ramp the intensity up at the right amount, and really trying to create a really, I would say, close connected group.
Great, thank you. We'll go ahead and start with questions in the room and go to Zoom.
Hey Vijay, this is the biggest turnover this roster has ever seen in the years they've been in MLS for Nashville SC. A lot of new faces coming in, a lot of maybe old faces who are trying to prove something. How do you balance all that going into this new season, and is it a little bit challenging that you have a lot of these newer sort of new blood coming in?
So I think it was intentional to replenish and reposition this roster and the staff, and really try to build it in a way that's uniquely Nashville. Try to build it in a group and a team that is aligned and embody the values of not only our club but the community. And when you do that and you make those pivots, there's certainly some unknown, but I think we've been able to make some really good additions. We're going to be able to complement them with some of the really good players that we already have on this roster, and we know when you can kind of combine those two things, like iron sharpens iron, and I think as we're able to kind of get this group working together. We'll listen to the signals that they send because it is a big turnover, and we'll be able to make those adjustments. But I think we've been able to construct a roster that'll be competitive each and every day, and really embody again what the values of this club are about and what the values of this city are about.
Lucas?
With so many new faces in the midfield specifically, how much of your preparation for the preseason has been kind of toying with all those different combinations in your head before you even get a chance to work with them on the field?
That's the problem of the off season, is that you spend a lot of time moving magnets around and playing that game, but you need to get out on the field. Of course, the midfield is an area that we made big additions, a lot of turnover, but at the same time, it's an exciting opportunity. I don't think we want to be tied to any presumption of how that's going to shake out. We don't want to, I would say, wedge players into positions if it's not fitting. We really want to come at this with a wide-eyed, open ears, open mind thing, and the job of the staff is to put the players in the best positions to be successful, and that's why we get this opportunity for 6 weeks with the preseason to kind of see which connections really are the strongest, and use that as our way to go forward.
Jacob?
I guess, how settled in now do you feel here in Nashville, just having after a full off season, just for you personally?
Yeah, I feel really comfortable personally. I think we've been able to have a tremendous off season in building maybe the behind the scenes group, the staff, not only the coaching staff but our high performance staff, and really putting some pieces in. I think there's been a tremendous investment and a tremendous commitment from the club as a whole to really get the alignment that we talk about right. And so a lot of that comes from not only just the front office, not only from ownership, but not only the first team, but then getting that alignment really solidified with the second team, with Chris O'Neill coming in mid-season as well. Now having an off-season to work together in a calm way, and then with the academy, which is still going to be a piece that we're going to get right with a little bit of time. But when you know that all of those things are now in full alignment from top to bottom and kind of going in the right direction, it does give you a sense of stability and when you have stability, I think you have comfort.
Garrett?
One of the things you said in your opening statement was the fact that this is a blank canvas now. What are your thoughts on making this team and this franchise yours? You were here some of last season, but you kind of inherited everything. Now you bring in some of your players, you get to really have some time to install some of your own plans with this team. What are your thoughts on that going forward?
Yeah, the vision is to make it Nashville, and I'm a vehicle to replicate, to basically make that vision happen. We've been able to bring in players, we've retained some players, and we've been able to bring in staff, and I think my job's to bring all of that together. But everyone that's here is now aligned behind the same vision, the same goal, and you know, I think that's the exciting part. That's the exciting part, is now the blank canvas that we talk about is us to be able to start to write this chapter 6, and for, you know, and everyone that's now part of this understands, you know, what we want to accomplish.
Is that something that you think is going to take some time?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, we don't know how much time, but yeah, it absolutely takes time. Anytime you have to bring in a lot of different people and get everybody aligned and connected, it's going to take time. We're fortunate that we have the preseason, but as we say, we don't believe that we're privileged or we're entitled to start any further than day one. And that's all that we're really going to control right now. And we're going to tell the players, we tell the staff every day, we're just going to keep turning each page. And we're going to keep turning each single page every day, learning and trying to get better. And at the end, it won't be our job to judge where Chapter 6 falls in the history books. You know, basically the totality of the history of NSC. That'll be for history to tell us. We're just going to stay focused on the opportunity that we have today, and doing that each day.
Claudia?
Vijay, it might be too early for this question, but we know about your principles. You stated very clearly what your principles playing are. They're not going to change for sure. But looking at the turnaround and the midfield especially, are we set up for any particular thing that you might have in mind tactically this new season coming up?
Again, you totally right. We're not going to change our principles. We're a principle play, teaching environment, learning environment. So, which I think gives us a tremendous opportunity to get as many of the new players on board as quickly as possible through providing clear roles, clear responsibilities, and a consistent learning and teaching environment. Certainly, I think through some of the acquisitions, we're trying to find a way to generate and score more goals. And I know it seems cliche, but if you look across the league in the history, you know, you have to score somewhere around 50 goals to be a consistent playoff team. And so when we look at our roster, we need to have that confidence. The way we play, the way we train, the way we want to do everything is we got to score 50 goals. And that's not something that we're going to hide behind. And how we do it is we're going to have to, you know, be flexible and find those moments. I don't think all of us have the answers, but we know what we need to do we know the level that we need to reach if we want to reach those levels.
Julie?
What do you look for in these preseason matches?
I would say the focus is primarily on us. So are we able to transmit what we're doing on the training field, what we're doing in the meetings, what we're doing in the gym, and are we able to obviously perform it? And you're performing it against an opponent who's going to give you different challenges. So for us, it's just about, I always say the training field is a sacred place. The training field is where we become us. And right now, we have the benefit in preseason and with a few of the friendlies that we're going to play, is to just be solely focused on us and try to take what we're practicing and really put it into effect, because we know when it hits maximum pressure, which is game day, you have to be a little bit, I would say, pressure tested. So for us, that's really all we're looking to do.
Do you think that some of the returners could use last season as kind of a motivator?
Again, I think each season is its own independent season. The group is never the same season to season. The staff is never the same season to season. Each season is its own story and its own narrative. If an individual player uses that for themselves But that's certainly not something that we use in our environment in terms of motivation. We're motivated by getting better each day on the process, being focused on where we want to, what we want to achieve as a group, and I would say fostering an environment where players can develop and players can chase their own ambitions as well, and marrying that team and the individual ambition. So very much about just being focused on writing the best chapter we can in 2025.
We'll go to Ben Wright on Zoom, and we'll come back to you guys for anything else you guys have. Go ahead, Ben.
Hey, BJ, good to talk to you. Sorry I couldn't be there in person today. I know last year you kind of gave us an overview of how you want the team to play and kind of your vision for what you want this squad to look like. Kind of looking forward to preseason. What would, in your mind, kind of constitute a successful preseason, and what are kind of some of the boxes you want to tick to feel like you're fully ready to take on the 2025 MLS season?
Yeah, I think for us it's creating consistency. I think the more consistent we can become day by day, the better we will feel, and the better we'll be prepared, and the better that we'll be able to kind of focus on how we can continually improve. We want to create an environment that's intense. The way we want to play is with intensity. The standard to compete at this level is that you have to play with intensity. So we have to be able to train that and build that each day in training. We're a team that's built on the collective, and we value that. And so, both with and without the ball. So we want to focus on the players being connected on and off the field. Building close and strong relationships. And then the last part is we want to be competitive, meaning we want players competing with each other for spots. We think that's an important piece to building a winning mentality, is not allowing complacency to join into the group. And so having real competition at positions will be a focus in preseason. It'll be a focus throughout. So it's really about laying that foundation of being intense, connected, and competitive all the way through. But it starts on day one, which is tomorrow. But I don't see that changing. As you move into the season, you just really want to create that foundation now, so that it becomes a standard part of your environment.
Go ahead, Ben, if you have a second.
Yeah, and then I know you've talked about midfield a lot, but just kind of looking at the position group, I think Patrick is probably the only player who's still kind of here from last year, and he got here halfway through the year. How do you kind of get everybody up to speed and kind of on the same page with how you want to play in essentially a month and a half?
Yeah, I think you're right. We have Patrick, and I would say we have Hani in that center midfield that have been here, and everyone else we sort of brought in. Again, I would say it comes down to having very clear roles and responsibilities for each position, for each player. Train it and finding ways to continue to get them connected each day, putting them in positions, working with them on and off the field, them working with each other on and off the field to build those relationships. And I think what we've been able to do is now also make it a competitive group in that midfield, where they know that they're going to have to perform at a high level and execute at a high level. And when we can have that environment, I think that'll transmit to a high level and high performing team.
Really simple, direct one. Are you still active in the transfer market?
Yes. Thanks for the answer. Thanks for the question. I hope you respect the direct answer back.
How much of your offseason was spent reflecting on the, I think, 11 games that you did have, and how much has that helped you, looking back on that, how much do you think that's helped you just hit the ground running, jumping into the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I would say our environment's built on, right? We talk about we always want to plan, perform, reflect, and refine. And so in the off season, we're doing the planning. We don't have the opportunity to really perform, so we spend a lot more time on this reflection and this refinement. So we relook at everything that we do. We also look at trends outside of ourselves that are working for other teams, and whether that's inside the MLS or that's globally, to continue to always build our game model, you know, and adapt and try to take little things. We don't want to be, as coaches and as a staff, we don't want to be complacent either. So I think it's looking at what works, developing a plan on how to make that, you know, make that even a greater strength, and there's always going to be some weaknesses that we need to address and improve, and using that as our foundation, but not coming into the season with this group of new players already presuming we have to do those things. We just have to understand where we are, where we want to go, and then really evaluate with, like I said, with this sort of beginner's mindset, and let the team kind of speak to us per se to guide us.
Jim?
One of your biggest moves in the club this offseason was trading Shaq Moore to Dallas. I guess how much did that move, you know, reflect confidence in Julian Gaines, you know, especially after, you know, he kind of was able to make an impact for you last season, late in the year, and then bring in Andy Nahar. I guess what do you feel he'll add to that position, and also maybe Julian's development as well?
Yeah, so I mean, you know, obviously we did trade Shaq Moore. Shaq's been a player since, I've known him since a U17 player, so it's a guy I have a tremendous amount of respect for, player and person, and so it's always difficult in this business when you have to make those decisions, but you know that's what we have to do to look out for the best of the club. It is an opportunity for Julian. Julian's going to have the opportunity to come in and compete for a position here. I think he's a testament to what we practice, what we preach here. He was injured a little bit early in the season, and as he came back from his injury, he was able to go down to Huntsville and put in a good set of performances down there. And then, you know, we talk about seizing his moment. He had his moment, and I think, you know, showed enough that he deserves an opportunity to kind of compete, and you know, and he'll have every opportunity to do that for us.
Vijay, just like the principles that don't change, the mindset of most of the fans out there don't change either. They have their own 11, they have their own team, and that's not going to change either. But after a difficult season like last season for the team, what can you tell them in terms of how much better this team should be? Of course, we have to wait until we see the product in the field. But what would the message be for them?
Yeah, the message to the fans is that we don't think we're entitled to start any further down the road than any other team. That's not how we go about our business. You know, the commitment to the fans is that this team has been built with a great attention to detail, that the players and the staff will embody what the values of the community and the club are, and they can expect that the performances that they're going to see on the field will reflect that. You know, obviously we try and we are going to attempt to win every single game, and we know that that's the end, but that is not our focus. The focus is that the performances that they'll see will embody it, and that we're going to go about our business every single day, working as hard as we can, and as diligent as we can, as detailed as we can, and as committed to the step-by-step process as we can to create a consistent performing team, not only for this season, but a club that will have consistent and sustained success over the long term as well.
Julian?